All right. Bill Harlow spent 7 years as a CIA spokesman and is the author of the book Hard Measures. Bart Gellman is an investigative reporter with The Washington Post who spoke to Edward Snowden and broke the story about PRISM for The Washington Post. Both join me now. Mr. Harlow, I want to talk to this issue. Edward Snowden was a government contractor, not necessarily a full-time employee. He claims what he had access to, not that he, this isn't a case, he's claiming this is not a case where he went and actively got stuff he didn't have access to. But what he had a security clearance to was an amazing amount of his ability to essentially target individual citizens. Do you believe he's telling the truth on this?
It seems to me from some of the reporting that he exaggerates more than a little bit. How far he's exaggerating, I don't know, but some of his statements give the impression that he has an exalted view of his own abilities and importance. But that's one of the things that's going to have to be investigated is, did he have greater access than he should have? Normally, the most sensitive programs are highly compartmented and are only available to a small number of people. IT specialists have a unique capability, however, because they need to make the system run. They can sometimes have access to greater amounts of information than an average analyst.
And this could mean a contractor at Booz Allen? I mean, it just sort of is striking to me that somebody would have all access to this sensitive information that he leaked out, both the subpoena and all of these things, and he works for Booz Allen. Is this the reality of the situation, that the intelligence community is made up of full-time government employees and a bunch of government contractors?
Well, post 9/11 particularly, there was a large increase of contractors that were brought on board to the intelligence community to add to the vast amount of additional work that was being done. And they work side by side, career employees, often indistinguishable because of the amount of work that's come in and the need to process.
And do contractors go through the same amount of vetting that a CIA
They are supposed to go through the same security clearance process, and I'm sure it will come out whether his was done as well as it should have been. But he apparently came to his conclusions late in his time with the government. And so it may not be the kind of things that would have popped up in a polygraph or initial interview 4 or 5, 6 years ago when he first joined the government.
And Mr. Harlow, this seems to be the issue that some have with this program. It's not, maybe they could be accepting of the program, but to find out so many different people have access to this personal information.
Well, and it's unclear to what level they have access to. They may have access to one level of the program. You almost have to assume that they would be abusing the law, breaking the law, as Snowden did, to gather this information, to dive into it to the level that it would cause any problem. But, 6 weeks ago, the media and public were saying, you guys in intelligence, how could you have missed the Boston bombing? How could you have not connected the dots? And now the same people, many of them, are saying, how come you weren't were collecting these particular dots? Well, you can't have it both ways. You have to either allow them to collect the intelligence, which may be able to tell you the tale, or say we're willing to accept the damage that will occur when you miss it.
And what's interesting here is the public doesn't seem to be nearly as fired up about this debate as Washington is. Anyway, Bill Harlow, Bart Gellman, thank you both for coming on.